So, you know, when your non-West Ham mates would say to you, what's the problem with David Moyes? West Ham fans are entitled. Why do you want rid of David Moyes? He's the best thing that's happened to you. West Ham are lucky to have David Moyes. I know I'm not speaking for everybody here because not everybody wanted David Moyes to go. But those of you that did, you'd have non-West Ham fans, they just didn't get it. And then we had this whole thing with the mainstream media. The be careful what you wish for brigade. Telling us we'd never had it so good under David Moyes. What we saw tonight is something you could say to them, that. The way we saw England play against Denmark, you can say to your non-West Ham friends, see that, see how England played, see how clueless we were, see how defensive we were, see how petrified we were, see how we couldn't string two passes together, see how we couldn't get the best of the amazing attacking talent that we got at our disposal. That is exactly what we saw with David Moyes. It was uncanny. What was hugely... I mean, it shouldn't really be amusing. I'm amused because England are still in it. England win the next game. England draw the next game. Whatever. England will be through to the knockout stages, right? But what was highly amusing was Alan Shearer commentating, picking out all the things that were wrong with England. And in the process of him picking out all the things that were wrong with England, he was inadvertently making observations which absolutely could be applied to David Moyes. Yet there were few who came out in defence of David Moyes more robustly than Alan Shearer. As it transpires, the two of them were on a coaching course together, and actually, apparently, David Moyes helped Alan Shearer get through his coaching badges. So that would explain why there was a little bit of bias in his observations on David Moyes. However, as a man that has taken his coaching badges, there was clearly nothing wrong with Alan Shearer's observations on everything that was wrong with England. I just found it incredible. And then they cut at half-time to Gary Lineker, who also has been part of the Be Careful What You Wish For brigade with David Moyes. And he was saying, I just don't know what's wrong. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. But in fact, he did really target and pinpoint exactly what was wrong. So anyway, enough Moyesy stuff. You get the point. I mean, that was shockingly terrible, but so familiar as a West Ham fan. What we saw today, it was quite telling actually. Just before the first game against Serbia, we were told Jude Bellingham's not been with the group for very long at all. He'd not taken part in all the pre-season build-up because he'd been in the Champions League final with Real Madrid. So he's not up to speed. That's what he was saying. He's not up to speed. He's joined the group late. He's not had any training sessions. Oh, well, he's had them now. I mean, there's a reason that Jude Bellingham had looked so bloody good in that first game, sort of compared to almost everybody else. He's been infected now. It's like the Walking Dead, right? Honestly, he's been bitten. He has been completely infected now. He was awful. Declan Rice was awful. In fact, it's probably easier for me to explain who wasn't totally awful. And when so many of them are, it does basically come down to the manager. And I know there'll be an argument. There'll be people, non-West Ham fans, watching this. If you are, welcome, by the way. Not meaning to have a pop. You were saying, hold on a second. England have got an embarrassment of riches that West Ham haven't had. Look, let me tell you now. Mohamed Kudus, Lucas Paquetá, Jarrod Bowen, good players. Good players. We should not be playing the way we did against the likes of Bristol City and getting thumped 5-0 by Fulham and Sheffield United. We've basically, that point in the England game tonight where it looked like we couldn't get anything out of Saka or Foden or Bellingham or Kane. Yes, I know Kane scored. That's what it's like for West Ham fans. Southgate is clueless. I mean, he must be absolutely clueless. We were so deep. No outball. I mean, when Alan Shearer's pointing out, hold on, they've got no ball. They've got no ball out. Well, no, yeah, neither have we at West Ham, to be fair. Sitting so deep. Petrified of Denmark. No disrespect, Denmark. What a goal. What a goal, by the way. Their other goal in the first game was brilliant as well. Two really good goals. Brilliant. Lovely country, lovely people. Fantastic. But if England, with the group of players that they've got, should not be petrified of Denmark. Oh, we were petrified of Denmark. Don't worry about that. I think it's almost like David Moyes has been cloned, and it's, just looks slightly different, doesn't he? There's a point near the end and Southgate's going, calm down, calm down. No, show some frigging urgency. Don't calm down. Get in there. Get stuck in. I guess there was some element of bravery in hooking Harry Kane. Didn't expect him to do that. Things got better a bit when he did, because Ollie Watkins, gave some sort of threat, put some pace into the attack. But what we saw was terrible. Honestly, brilliant players were getting worse before your very eyes. Declan Rice, I'm a bit annoyed that he left. Bit annoyed that he left to go to Arsenal. But what a magnificent footballer. That was shocking. That tonight, maybe you can point it out, that's the worst I've seen Declan Rice play. And maybe you can come back at me with some early game when he played at centre-back earlier on in his career or something like that. That's the worst I have ever seen Declan Rice play. That's something. That's really something. That's the worst. I've not seen Jude Bellingham play as obviously anywhere near as much as I've seen Declan Rice play. That's the worst I've seen Jude Bellingham play. It's pathetic. It's actually pathetic. If you join me for the build-up show, and thank you for the 2 or 3 people that did, it was we spoke about Kieran Trippier and how he needs to try and kick the ball with his left foot. Well, now I've seen him kick the ball with his left foot. I don't need to see it ever again. He tried it. It was in the first 5-10 minutes. He just kicked it straight to a red shirt. England weren't playing in red, if you understand that much. And it was just there is basically England have to score a goal down the right-hand side. You can't score a goal down the left-hand side. It's like an uncanny. Do you watch Stranger Things? It's like you've got the main world. I'm not there's spoilers here, and you've got the upside down, which mirrors a spookier mirrored version of the main world. This is brilliant. Only attacking down the right hand side and a dysfunctional left hand side. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I used to call it a West Ham. I say used to. I still do, I guess, until I see different. The left wing's a graveyard shift. That's what you'll have heard me say that if you're a regular viewer. The graveyard shift. It's where wingers or midfielders go to die at West Ham's on the left wing. Oh my word. Ultimately, do you know what I don't understand? There's no point me going through the game and talking through the goals. And yeah, all right, well done, Kyle Walker for that for England's opener. Well done. But what I will never quite understand is if you were to sit Gareth Southgate down with the archives, with some books and some footage, and tell him the stories of England managers past, and explain to him how so many of them tried to shoehorn the wrong players into positions that were alien to them, were too negative, made the wrong substitutions, and ultimately failed because they couldn't quite bring themselves to drop their favourites or play players in form. Honestly, it's littered with it. You could spend 2 or 3 hours with Gareth Southgate explain. Take it all the way from after Ramsey finished in 1966, all the way through, and take them through all the England managers and all the World Cups and all the European Championships. And you'd see this trend. And you say to him, Gareth, so what you've got to do is you've got to make sure you don't do this stuff. Listen, this would be lovely for this video to be proved absolutely wrong. Well, it's not wrong because we were shit against Denmark, basically. That part of it is right. Be nice to look back at this video and think, whoa, that was a low point. It got better and England won a trophy. We are so inept. You cannot sack a manager halfway through a little bit into the tournament. You just can't do. You can't do that. It would. There's backroom team. There's hotels. You just can't do it in the way that you could do it, sort of, in club football sort of thing. But I was going to say West Ham. England needs a complete and utter metamorphosis to get any better, to have any hope of doing anything in this tournament, because good teams, as I say, good on them, good on them, Denmark, well done. And obviously, I remember Denmark winning the European Championship. Came off the beach, won the European Championship, yeah, for sure. But Denmark are not one of the top teams in Europe. Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, they would destroy us. And I understand that made the point that actually, maybe France huffed and puffed. Maybe Portugal huffed and puffed, and so on and so forth. But they did get the job done. England were not close to winning that game. There was a part in the game which I thought summed it up. And I should have made a note, but I hope I've memorised it correctly. I think it was 41 minutes and 30 seconds. Phil Foden had dropped deep. He wanted to play some 1-2s. And what you saw was utter confusion from the England players, utter blankness. The inability to do a triangle, to play a 1-2, a pass and move, a give and go. The sort you saw Foden, and he dropped. I'm not saying Foden was brilliant today, but he was better than in the previous game. But he wasn't the worst player, Foden. But you saw he sort of spun in, got the ball turned, and I think it was Declan. He gave it to Declan and spun it, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nobody was moving. There was no interchange of positions. There was nothing. And if you watch the last video I did after the Serbia game, I was speaking about coached attacking manoeuvres. They would call them attacking plays in the NFL, for instance, the playbook. That bit where people spin off each other and he changes position, he moves. The sort of things that the top coaches drill, these attacking systems with interchange of position, little triangle, releases display, all that stuff, the clever stuff. He doesn't know how to coach it. He hasn't got a clue, Southgate. He does not know what to do with technical players, does not know. It's a case of throw them on in the positions that we've already been playing, but don't expect anything innovative, which means as long as the opposition sort of stick to their task, as long as they stick to their man, and there's no big tactical switch required from the opposition manager. None. It doesn't need to be done. Anyway, there you go. Happy days. What can I say? It was awful. I mean, it was truly, truly awful. We live to fight another day, fortunately, on that one for England, but he'll be fooling himself if he gets back to that dressing room, hotel, back to the training complex, whatever they're doing, and he convinces himself that things are going to be okay. They're not. He needs to. He has one. I think he has one hope. Hope to be proved wrong. He needs to deconstruct the team now, right now, and do something completely different. Completely different. He needs to get some level of inspiration into those players. He needs to get as many creative players on the pitch as he possibly can, because he's not able to coach the creativity into them. So he's going to have to hope for a little bit of genius, hope for a little bit of bright spark. He's going to have to ditch the Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield thing, and Conor Gallagher is not. That's why the reason I said Morten would have been my choice there, as he can give and go. He's got a fast footballing brain. Get him in there. He's got to sort out that left-hand side, all of it. Try and get some semblance of balance. I don't know what. There's no point wrapping Luke Shaw and Cotton Wool anymore. He needs to get him out there. He can't enjoy playing in that. Kieran Trippier. He cannot enjoy playing that role. But I doubt too many England players really enjoyed themselves today. Maybe Ollie Watkins. Possibly didn't think he'd see any time. Probably didn't think he'd get to come on as a substitute for Harry Kane, particularly after Harry Kane had scored. And he came on and he looked sharp. Maybe he enjoyed it. Obviously, Jared Bowen came on as a sub. What was that pitch like? The pitch, by the way, we will not use the pitch as an excuse. It was awful. Surprised that got signed off, really. And just not the sort of pitch. I tell you what it reminded me of. Like sometimes, a club's in a real hurry and they might have to have their first fixture or something like that. They've just changed stadium, or they have to change the pitch quickly for whatever reason, and it just doesn't have a chance to root. Then it's almost like you got the undersoil then you've got like the top bit of turf basically, and it's just almost sliding around on top of it. It was weird. It was like it just really was like it had just been laid. Speaking of which, that'll segue quite nicely. Do you know ETC are our sponsors? They're magnificent. They have been sponsoring us for years. Do you know what they do? They do 3G football pitches, tennis courts, that sort of thing. If you've got a school and you need your tennis courts done, or your sports surfaces, anything like that, get in touch with ETC Sports. The link's in the description below. ETC, they're West Ham fans, proper West Ham fans, season ticket holders. They're absolutely brilliant. I'll tell you what, an ETC pitch wouldn't have been like that. Nothing like it, nothing close to it. Absolute disgrace of a football pitch. But, you know, it's like they say, both teams had to play on it. Anyway, there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be very surprised if you're not. I'll be very surprised if you're going to overly argue with me and say that was a brilliant performance, Gonzo. What are you banging on about? Load of old rubbish. It needs to get better for the next one.